Oh, welcome to Ole Walls house. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls. And I'm back with you. Episode 224 coming your way. Big show this week. Big show. A lot happening. We got Ethan Sexton coming in to join us, talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. It's back. It's rolling. We're going. Ethan's breaking it all down for us. Then after that, we got our OWH draft correspondent, senior draft insider, Mr. MJ Matt Johnson, breaks down, gives us his mock for this year's draft. As another quick reminder, we are going to be live on Thursday night for the draft. It is already set as a upcoming live on YouTube. You can go on there, give yourself a reminder. While you're there, like, comment, subscribe, share, review. Let everybody know. Ole Walls House, it's the place to be. You can also get some merch for Ole Walls House. The link is down there in the show notes below. Some great Ole Walls House merch in there, as well as FullRange podcast merch. And again, don't forget to check out our guy MJ at the FullRange Pod on Spotify and Apple and on the Ole Walls House YouTube channel. And without any further ado, let's get into it. He's back. Ethan Sexton is here to join us. Baseball season has begun, so we got to bring in, our expert, our confidant, our trusted go-to, Mr. Ethan Sexton. How you doing, E?
Yeah, you know what, Wally, I'm doing just fine, man. Thanks for asking. So appreciate you having me on. Happy to be here.
Hey, anytime. Maybe we might even get another appearance out of you on Thursday on the live show.
We'll see. I will say I'm not like MJ, right? I'm not digging in on this shit too much. I pretty much look at the draft from a fantasy football perspective. Yeah, and I am excited to draft Jeremiah Love in fantasy football. So especially in my dynasty league where I have the 1-1. So he's yours. Yes, I'm excited about that. But nice. Otherwise, whatever. I don't care that much.
The draft is mostly me learning about who all these people are.
MJ does the homework so that we can reap the rewards. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He puts in the work.
Exactly. But today we're here to talk about some baseball, E. The Major League Baseball season is underway. Most teams have about 20 games in so far. I think there's maybe a couple that have 19. About 2 or 3 as I'm kind of scrolling up and down the standings here. So I did some quick math. That is 12% of the season is completed now. And as I'm looking at the standings and as I've been paying attention a little bit, it is a jumbled mess in almost every division thus far. Granted, super early, teams will separate out, but the AL specifically, there's only one. There are no teams with more than 11 wins in the AL, and there's a couple of 13-win teams in the NL, and then the Dodgers, of course, being the Dodgers. So why don't we just start with kind of a quick rundown of kind of what we've been seeing from some of the teams so far. Keep this kind of, light. We don't need to break down every team in every division, but let's just kind of shoot out to the NL West, talk about the Dodgers a little bit. Obviously, back-to-back champs, and it seems like they're on track for another one at the start of the year.
Yeah, I mean, they're, in the early going here, they're kind of the head and shoulders best team. Like you said, they have the most wins at the moment. 15-4 record. I mean, it is what it is at this point, man. You can't really expect too much differently. They're the best run franchise in baseball. They have the most money. They have the best players. They do the best scouting. They do the best development, all that good stuff. So 15-4 start, not too surprising to them. I mean, coming into the offseason, their 2 biggest weaknesses were right field and closer. They got arguably the best closer in baseball and one of the best right fielders in baseball in Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker in free agency. And here they are, man. So not too big of a surprise that they're off to a great start. It's just a great franchise. The trumpets.
Every time I hear Edwin Diaz, that's all I can think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like unfair for those guys right now. Like you said, not only do they have the biggest pockets they're good at it too. It's like the Mets spend a ton of money, but they're just run by a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. Screw the Mets. That's what I have to say. I mean, I can't really hate on the Dodgers too much. Like, you can be annoyed that they spend the most money. They're this, they're that. But I mean, anybody would want their favorite team to be run the same way. So I can't really get that mad about it. I mean, I can't be mad that they're great at their jobs. You know what I mean? It helps that they have a lot of money, but they kind of earned it by being a great franchise. Obviously they're in a huge media market and all that stuff, but I just can't really hate on it too much because it's not like they lucked into this. They put in the work. They're just extremely well run, and they've been reaping the benefits here for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I am praying that in 2027 that the Dolan family gets themselves out of baseball in Cleveland, lets that group that's run by Blitzer. I think he also owns part of the Devils, and he might have some NBA team too. That he's maybe the Nets. Not that either of those are the greatest thing, but it can't be worse than the Dolans just refusing to put money in. So like I said, that's exactly what I would want my team to do. If you got the money, go spend it. Don't just put it in the bank. Like, a lot could be said about the Dodgers, but they're not just like squirreling it away and being like, we'll make a run every couple of years. Like, they're just like, no, we're all in every year. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, they make a lot of money, but they put it back into the team. So I mean, I can't really argue with the way they're doing it.
Yeah, what's their payroll this year?
I have no idea off the top of my head, but it's got to be. I would assume it's the highest in baseball, or it's second to the Mets, but it's going to be up there for sure.
$410 million.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. Let's see what everybody else. MLB payrolls.
The crazy thing, though, is while you're looking this up, is, I mean, they obviously spend a lot of money on players and free agents and stuff, but they also have a ton of homegrown talent that's, been huge contributors to their team. Will Smith at catcher, Andy Pajas in the outfield. A lot of their pitchers are homegrown. So, I mean, yes, they've spent a lot of money on top-tier free agents, but they've also developed from within. So it's just like, top to bottom, it's just an extremely well-run franchise. I mean, their farm system is probably one of the top 10, top 5 in the game still. It's just an incredibly run franchise.
Yep. Yeah, I'm seeing another one, 415. I mean, the Mets are spending 381, and they never get anything out of it. So, like we've said, like you have to pair spending a lot of money with doing the right things. Meanwhile, Cleveland, we've spent $87 million this year. So
not bad.
Good stuff.
$87 million is only 22 less than what Kyle Tucker's making, I'm pretty sure.
Only one team in Major League Baseball has spent less, and that is the $81 million that the Miami Marlins are spending.
Yep.
28th is $108 million. They're getting overspent by the team in front of them by $21 million.
Yeah. It's funny though, the Marlins and Guardians not off to bad starts. They're
Cleveland's 11-10.
So they're kind of doing it. They have to do it a little more from within. They can't spend that money on free agents like the Dodgers or even some of the mid-level teams can. But at least they're off to decent starts to their season for not being able to spend the kind of cash that the bigger market teams can.
Yeah, I saw this stat a couple weeks back. Draft picks from the last 20 years to make it to the bigs. Cleveland leads all with 145.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
And like you said, the Dodgers 126. They're in like 8th or 9th there. So they're again, it's not all just the money. But anybody else there in the NL West that we should keep our eyes on? I mean, the Padres look to be pretty decent. They're off to a nice start. Have traditionally had some good talent.
Yeah, I think they had an 8-game winning streak snapped last night, so they've been off to a good start to the season. And, Fernando Tatis Jr., who's probably their best player at this point, a superstar-type player. He hasn't even hit a home run yet, so he's hitting pretty well. He just hasn't hit for a lot of power yet. So, they've got some guys not even off to the best starts. They're off to a good start as a team, though. And, there was a lot of things surrounding the Padres because their owner, Peter Seidler, passed away before last season. So there's been a lot of, they've been trying to sell the team, and it sounds like they finally found an owner, billionaire going to come in and buy the team moving forward. So I think they're going to be set up a little more for success moving forward. They have a really like a gunslinger type general manager, really good at drafting talent and really good at signing talent out of Latin America. And not afraid to use it to go get superstars. Like he traded the consensus number 3, number 4, I think it was number 5 somewhere, top 5 prospect in baseball last year to get Mason Miller. Well, Mason Miller, is making an early season argument to be in the Cy Young conversation with the way he's pitching, which is a difficult thing for a closer to do. So I think if they get some financial backing and financial stability, they could become, a force moving forward. They're already a pretty solid team and a pretty solid franchise, but if they get some of that financial backing, I think they could step it up a little bit. I mean, the Rockies are a mess. They've got a new front office in this year. It's going to be a brutal season for them, but it's going to be more about what they can do in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to develop that franchise. The Diamondbacks kind of ho-hum. They're just kind of, they're going to be in the mix, I think, all season long. They don't have the financial resources that some of the other teams do. And then the Giants, I think, are interesting. They're off to a rough start. I think it's a poorly constructed team. They have a new manager, Tony Vitello, who came directly from the college ranks, no major league experience as a player or as a coach, but he was a national champion collegiate manager at Tennessee. And there's probably going to be some learning curve to him, but I think he's a good baseball mind. They're just kind of a poorly constructed roster at this point.
Yep. You mentioned Mason Miller, another phenomenal closer walkout song.
Oh, yeah.
Hitting this with a little corn.
Yep.
Excellent.
Reggie loves it.
He does. Your neighbor, Reggie, that is.
We're neighbors.
Are the Pittsburgh Pirates, like, for real? Like, they've seemed to be okay early. I think they're up 2-0 right now as we record this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're legit in the sense that they can be a competitive team from start to finish this year. They have a really very talented young pitching staff led by Paul Skeens, the Cy Young Award winner. And the biggest question for them after last year was, can they get anything from this offense to go along with this extremely talented pitching staff? And to their credit, they went out in the offseason and they made some moves, signed some veteran guys and free agents and made a couple trades. Brandon Lau from Tampa Bay they brought in. He's off to a nice start hitting for power. And they got this offense up to above average, which is really all they had to do to make themselves, a competitive team with the pitching staff they had. So I don't know if they can win the Central. I don't think they have the best roster in the Central. I would give that to the Cubs, even though the Cubs are in last place as we speak currently. I would still say the Cubs have the most talented roster top to bottom. They're dealing with a few injuries. But I do think the Pirates, if they can pitch to the level they've started the season at all year long with that talented pitching staff, can really make some noise, fight for a wild card spot, or at worst, play spoiler to some of the more contending type teams. But I do think they're legit in the sense that they can be a competitive team from start to finish this year.
Yeah, Brandon Lau, over 1,000 OPS already, 7 home runs, one of the league leaders in that category. He might actually, third and tied for second in the league. Only Judge, Yordan Alvarez, and Jordan Walker have more. So, yeah. And then O'Neal Cruz has been a nice kind of compliment to him there, too. So, I mean, a couple bats in that lineup that are working would make a big difference. I mean, I forget what you mean. I don't remember all the stats from last year, but you'd see Skeens was setting records for lowest ERA with most losses, least runs allowed. All this stuff was and he still had a losing record. It was no one in history had ever pitched as well as he did and fared so terribly because Pittsburgh offense was so bad.
Yeah, to their credit, I mean, they knew they addressed it in the offseason. And like I said, they brought in some guys. O'Neal Cruz has always been extremely streaky, but he's always had a ton of upside. So if he can put together a full season, that'd be a huge boost for that offense, obviously. And then, normally when you look at prospect lists, ESPN will have one guy number one. Baseball America will have somebody, MLB Pipeline. But Pittsburgh coming into the year had the consensus number one prospect, Connor Griffin, a shortstop prospect. He was number one on every list pretty much. Anywhere you look, he was the number one guy. And they called him up early in the season. he's off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think he's going to be a really talented player. Obviously, he's a talented player. I think he's going to be a really good player for them moving forward. And again, to their credit, they have already locked him down to a long-term deal. So, there's a lot to be excited about in Pittsburgh. And like I said, they got this offense up to an above average, which is they didn't need to make it great. They just had to make it above average to score some more runs for that pitching staff, and they can find themselves in the mix all year long.
Yeah, and the Connor Griffin thing's like a little bit of an aberration for the Pirates. Like they could have waited till later in the year, right, and saved a year on a rookie deal or something like that with him still, right? And to their credit, like they're like, nope, let's bring him up, let's get him in the lineup, extend him, and try and be competitive.
Yep. Well, the nice thing is now is MLB has instituted some rules to try to get prospects up earlier so that teams don't manipulate service time as much. So they incentivize teams by doing a prospect promotion incentive pick in the draft. If your player wins the Rookie of the Year, then you get an extra first-round pick or a
compensatory.
Thank you, Wall. Yes, sorry about that.
I've been there, man. I've been there.
You get a comp round pick if their player wins the Rookie of the Year. So that's incentivized teams to get guys up a little bit early. So Pittsburgh already made this mistake when they brought up Paul Skeens. They brought him up too late into the year where he wasn't eligible for that pick, but he won the Rookie of the Year, so they didn't get any reward for calling him up. They didn't want to make that mistake twice with Connor Griffin, so they started him in AAA, which he hadn't had a lot of minor league games in AA or beyond. So they started him in AAA, which was fine because he hit for some power in spring, but he didn't exactly light the thing on fire. But he lit it up at AAA right out of the gates, and to their credit, they're like, all right, enough is enough. Let's get him up here. And, I think 2 days after he debuted, they signed him to a long-term deal. So he's going to be eligible. They're going to have him eligible for that extra pick if he can, win the Rookie of the Year this year.
Yep. Over in the NL East, the Braves are the lone team above 500. They look pretty good. Got a firsthand look at them last week when they were playing the Guards. And aside from one Parker Messick, just gem of a game, they got their faces beat in. Yep. I believe they scored 11 and 12 runs in the 2 games that they won in that series. They've scored 115 runs already this year. I think that's most in the bigs, if I'm correct. Yeah, even more than the Dodgers. Like this lineup has some pop to it.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been Atlanta's thing. We know they have an awesome offense, right? Ronald Acuna Jr., when he's healthy, one of the most dynamic players in the league, MVP-type caliber player. Matt Olson plays every single day. I think he's got close to 1,000 straight game streak going on. I think it's in the 800, somewhere around there. Plays every single day, hits for power. He's off to an awesome start. Drake Baldwin, Rookie of the Year last year at catcher. Ozzie Albies, talented player. So they've had, a talented lineup for a long time. The interesting thing about the Braves right now is that they're pitching extremely well, and they have a full pitching staff, 5 guys that probably would be in their pitching staff. Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwellenbach at the front of that list on the IL. So they're doing this with a lot of guys hurt, and they're off to an incredible start. They're going to get some of these guys healthy back in their rotation, and, that could really give them a boost to even be better moving forward. So they're off to a great start this year. Like you said, the rest of the NL East is kind of asleep at the wheel. The Marlins, not off to a terrible start, but don't have huge expectations. The Mets have been terrible. Their offense has been horrible after, making a big lot of transitions this year in the offseason, getting rid of Pete Alonso, getting rid of Brandon Nimmo, 2 guys who had been longtime Mets. They're off to a really rough start. Things aren't going so swell in New York City at the moment. Philly's off to a really rough start. Obviously the Phillies are my team. The scary thing coming into the year with them is, they brought back a lot of guys that were potential free agents. This group hasn't proven they could win, the World Series yet. And they're getting older every year. So they're off to a really rough start. I'm still, holding out some optimism. I think the pitching staff is there, that they can still be really good. They'll get Zach Wheeler back here fairly soon into the rotation. And the offense hopefully will click together, but it's been a rough start. So the Braves are putting a little bit of distance in between themselves and some of the other teams at the moment. The Nationals aren't expected to really be anything this year. But that's the scary thing with the Braves is they're off to this start, and then they're going to get some guys healthy in that rotation and really boost them even further.
Yeah, on the Phillies, as you mentioned, like they brought some guys back, and it's kind of to the point now for them, right, where it's like everybody's getting older, and you've sunk some additional money into this. Like it's kind of go time. Like it's in the next year or two, they've got to make their run because if not, like this roster's kind of going to require some pretty big restructuring, is it not?
Yeah, they're getting to the end of the window. You know what I mean? Harper, Schwarber, Turner, all those guys they're getting older. Nola and Wheeler in the rotation. They're getting into their mid-late 30s, and they're on the downswings of their career. They're still good players. They're still very good players. But they're getting on the downswing of their career. So it's kind of they got to get it done in the next couple of years. I mean, they did refresh the roster a little bit this year. They brought in Adolis Garcia as a free agent, longtime Texas Ranger. Used to be, a phenomenal hitter. He's kind of dropped his hitting a little bit the last couple of years, but he's still kind of a Gold Glove caliber right fielder. So that gave him a big boost, at least defensively, over Nick Castellanos last year in right field. And then they brought up two rookies that they've been highly touted guys. Justin Crawford, son of longtime major leaguer Carl Crawford. He's actually gotten off to a really good start his rookie season here, playing really good defense in center field and not hitting for a ton of power, but getting on base and hitting for a high average right now, using his speed at the bottom of the lineup. And then Andrew Painter, who was a guy that was making some waves. They potentially were going to give him a shot a couple of years ago to break camp as a 19-year-old in their rotation. He ended up needing Tommy John surgery, so we've had to wait a couple of years, but he's off to a nice start to his rookie MLB campaign here so far this season, pitching pretty well. So they've done a couple things to refresh the roster, but the core is still the same core that hasn't been able to get it done yet, and each year they're getting older,
Carl Crawford's son being in the major leagues does not make me feel good.
Yep.
That
Vlad
makes
Jr.,
me feel kind of old.
We're getting there, buddy. We're getting up there. If we were athletes, we'd be considered, old on the downswing of our career here. So
I don't think anyone ever considered me an athlete, so I didn't have to worry about that. Over in the AL, like I said at the start, nobody in the AL has more than 11 wins. Nobody has less than 7 wins.
Yeah.
So just all bunched together. What's going on out west? The Mariners, World Series team last year, have gotten off to kind of a rough start. They've just lost 4 in a row. Rangers are out winning the division.
I got to cut you off because I heard you talking about this when you were talking about the guards one time. You keep calling the Mariners World Series team, right? They did not make the World Series last year. It was the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh my God, yes it is. Why do I keep saying the Mariners?
That's all right. I don't want to be a dick, but I had to correct you because I'm tired of making this mistake, all right? So
why do I keep saying that?
But I think to your point, they were in the ALCS, okay?
Yeah.
And a really good team last year. Still think they're a really good team. I think they're the most talented roster top to bottom in the West, just off to a slow start. I mean, they have an awesome 1-5, 1-6 really pitching staff that's going to get them back to the top of that division, I think. And they've had some slow starts from some of their big hitters. Josh Naylor, your former boy, with the guards. Cal Raleigh's off to a slow start after that historic season last year. So I think some of those guys will get going. The big dumper, that's right. I think some of those guys are going to get going, and Seattle will pull themselves back to the top of that division. Houston's off to a really slow start, too. Their lineup has been really good. They've been decimated with pitching injuries. Their ace, Hunter Brown's on the IL. They signed a Japanese pitcher, Tatsuya Imai, in the offseason. He's on the IL. They're hurting in that pitching staff, so that's really hurting them pretty bad right
now. Any prospects for the Rangers, Angels, A's? Like, are these teams built for the run, or is this kind of just still like the Mariners? This is still kind of their division that they can go chase down.
Yeah, I think it's the Mariners division still. If I was going to bet on it, I'd still go with the Mariners here. But, the A's, I think, are pretty talented, have a really, really good offense. Their main goal is to build this team for the time they get to Vegas to be a contender. I think they're doing that with the offense. I think the offense is really good. Not sure they're going to end up having enough pitching to make a ton of waves this year, but they can really hit. They're a pretty talented team. Angels are off to a nice start. Mike Trout has been awesome so far. Really nice resurgent season for him. They have this guy Jose Soriano in the rotation, who's been incredible to start the year. ERA under 1. He's been dominant. He's going to fall back a little bit, but I just think the Angels will fall off pace a little bit. They're not really built to be a contender this year, I don't think. Texas, kind of a middling team, I think. They're not awful. I don't think they're great. So I still think this is probably, Seattle's division at the end of the day. But they got to get going here. Still early.
Yep. Wrong. Don't click that. Going up to the AL East, the actual team in the World Series from the AL, the Toronto Blue Jays, they're off to a rough start, while the Yankees and the Rays just overachieving, as always, up at the top of that division. And then the Red Sox have been kind of a hot mess. I know they've just actually won a couple here, but I've seen a lot from like Red Sox Twitter getting retweeted from, I don't know, it must be one of the Barstool guys that I follow, keeps just firing it into my feed.
Yeah.
They've been off to a pretty bad start, too.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox were off to a really terrible start to the season. They've kind of, righted the ship a little bit here in the last, week or so, getting themselves back into the mix. Toronto, a little bit of that World Series hangover going on right now. Slow starts for some of their guys, couple pitching injuries. Shane Bieber, has yet to pitch this season. We're going to have to see when he comes back. He was sort of the ace of their staff. Trey Savage, who was, is still rookie eligible, was awesome for them down the stretch and in the playoffs. He should be back pretty soon. He's on rehab assignment. So I think they'll get some things going, get things pointed in the right direction. Yankees are going to be really good all season long. I think the lineup is still, one of the best in baseball. They're going to get Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon back here pretty soon. They've Max Fried has been really good for them. Cam Schlittler. They're going to have a pretty dominant team, I think, throughout the entire season. And then Tampa just they always overachieve, so you can't really write them off. This was expected to be kind of a down year for them, but like you said, they always kind of find a way to overachieve and get it done. So at the end of the day, not sure they're going to be a playoff team, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me if they find a way to get in there.
And what about the Yankees? Obviously, the Yankees are always front page news. Still got Judge. Still got a nice lineup around him.
Yeah,
pitching's kind of been a little bit of their issue in the past, if I'm not mistaken. How's it all looking up there?
Yeah, I mean, they're waiting to get Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon back in the rotation. They're both on rehab right now, so they're going to be back fairly soon. I mean, you get those two guys back, that's a huge boost to your rotation right there. But, Max Fried has been was an ace last year for them after they signed him as a free agent. They brought up this rookie last year, Cam Schlittler, throws 100 with some nasty off-speed stuff. He looks like he could be an ace. So I think right there, you look 1 through 4, they're going to be pretty dominant when Cole and Rodon come back if they can be the guys they've been. Even if Cole isn't the ace, number 1, number 2 in all of baseball type pitcher that he's been in his past, he's still going to be up there as a, frontline starter. So 1 through 4, they're going to be looking pretty good. And then, they've got other guys. Ryan Weathers has been okay for them. Luis Gil was, a rookie of the year 2 seasons ago. So I think once they get those guys back, they're going to have a pretty deep rotation. David Bednar's been a little shaky as their closer so far this year, but I think he's going to be all right. They've got a bullpen, full of guys that were former closers. So I just think top to bottom, they're going to be one of the teams to beat in the American League for sure this year, getting through the playoffs and trying to get themselves into the World Series again.
Yep. And then over in the AL Central, it seems like the White Sox and the Royals probably kind of a hot mess again. Kind of the same thing it's been the last few years. Twins, Guards, Tigers.
Yeah.
My Guards doing Guardians things, barely scoring any runs, finding ways to win games, and they've got maybe a gem on their hand in Parker Messick, and Chase DeLauder's been off to a nice start too. So what are you seeing for my guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the question's the same question every time I come on here with you. Are they going to hit enough around Jose to really make a push, as far as winning the division and winning the playoffs. I mean, I think we always feel confident about the pitching staff. I mean, Gavin Williams has been off to a great start. Looks like a number one for you guys. I think Bybee's been off to a pretty slow start, a little bit worrying there for him. But on the flip side, you've got Parker Messick, who's looked awesome to start the season, and Joey Cantillo, who's been really good to start the season as well. Two young guys.
And we've been hearing about Cantillo forever, it feels like.
Yeah. So two young guys coming into the rotation and stepping up so far to begin this year, pitching really well behind Gavin Williams as your number one. The bullpen's been lights out. Cade Smith hasn't been as dominant yet as he's been, last year as the closer after Emmanuel Clase was suspended, but he's still been, pretty good. And I think his underlying numbers will come back to where they were last year. And you're looking at one of the best closers in the game and one of the best bullpens again. So it really comes down to, are they going to get enough offense? I mean, Angel Martinez been off to a nice start for you guys.
Schneeman's been hitting the shit out of it of late too.
Jose is Jose, so we don't have to worry about Jose, even though he's been a little bit slow out of the gates here. And then DeLauder got off to an awesome start. I think he's legitimately a very good hitter. It's just, can the boy stay healthy? Because that's been his career in a nutshell, is he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. When he's on the field, he rakes, and he's shown that so far to start the season. It's just, is he going to be healthy enough throughout the year to really give this offense a boost that is much needed? I mean, Kyle Manzardo's been, awful to start the year, unfortunately. Rhys Hoskins hasn't been too bad.
He's given him some nice moments.
Yep,
David Fry's been terrible.
Yep, Fry's been rough, and he's supposed to be a lefty masher, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he hits clean up against lefties and just hasn't done anything. They sent CJ Kafis out. I know he was off to a terrible start. So it's really the same question we talk about every single year, Wally, is, are they going to get enough offense to help push this team up into a position where they can really, compete? They won the division last year, obviously, but you get to the playoffs and they just don't get very far because they can't hit enough to really make enough noise to get through the playoffs.
Yeah, and they had George Valera up for at least a little. I don't know.
He's still up,
but they haven't been using him a whole lot. When they have used him, he's kind of produced.
He was a big time prospect, but he just kind of. At one point, he was really highly regarded, and he kind of flattened out and dropped down the prospect rankings. But there could still be something in that bat. I mean, you see a lot of guys who were former top prospects. They kind of slide down in the minors, and then they get to the majors, and something kind of clicks. And, okay, maybe they're not stars, but maybe they can be competent big league everyday players for you. So we'll see what he can do and give a little bit of a jolt going forward, too. But it's the same question as always, man. Are they going to hit enough, to really make this happen?
Yep. Well, we kind of hinted at something when we talked Parker Messick and Chase DeLauder, is that this rookie class this year is maybe something special. So talk to us about that. Kind of give us the rundown on this group of guys.
Yeah, I think the big story, so far this year has really been the emergence of a lot of rookies, teams' willingness to call these guys up early, to break camp with guys that are top prospects, and sign them up to long-term deals. So we talked about Connor Griffin getting a big deal. Detroit has done this with Kevin McGonigal, middle infielder for them, who's off to a nice start. And, there's a couple other guys out there. DeLauder, like we said, J.J. Weatherholt with the Cardinals. There's been, a lot of rookies that have been off to really nice starts so far. And I think that's been a nice change, is, the incentivization of getting these guys up early, not holding them down in the minor leagues well past when they're ready, just to manipulate the service time. Get the best players up into the Major League Baseball, quicker. Get these guys playing at the top level, so that we can watch them as fans. And, we had seen it really with pitchers, the teams' willingness to get pitchers up in the major leagues and get these, guys firing their bullets while they're healthy in the majors instead of, down in the minor leagues and having to worry about, injury and overusage and things like that. So now we're starting to see that with position players as well, with some of the incentivized, stuff to get these guys in the bigs, faster. And it's resulting in getting a lot of young top talent up early, and these guys have performed really well to start the year.
Nice. Who in the league are we not talking about that we should be talking about?
Yeah, I think one guy that comes to mind when you bring this up is Jordan Walker with the Cardinals, okay? This is, kind of like I said about George Valera. This was a guy who was a Connor Griffin-esque prospect a few years ago, 2-3 years ago. Big-time prospect, top 10 consensus. hits the shit out of the ball. Big power, big exit velocity numbers, huge human being. Had all the hype in the world coming into spring training one year and lit it up in spring training. His card prices were through the roof. Cardinals broke camp with him, and he was awful. He was 21 years old, 20 years old, was awful. Wasn't very good last year. But he's off to an incredible start this year. Hitting for power, went to driveline, made some swing adjustments, hitting for power, tied for the league lead in home runs to start the season with 8. And, I'm really interested to see if he can keep this going for the entire season and really come through with that prospect pedigree that he had heading into his season 2 years ago when he broke camp. It's been 2 disappointing seasons for him. He's still only 23 years old. He's young. He's clicking into the things that made him a top prospect, and we're going to have to see if it can continue for him. With the Cardinals, it's really going to be about developing some of these young players over the next year or two to get them back into a place where they're really in contender status again.
Do you think we'll see a little bit more of players with his kind of arc now that, like you said, that MLB has kind of incentivized these teams to get guys up earlier? Like, hey, they may be great prospects and they come up younger and we see them and, they're not pulling the bullshit and wait until after, July 30th to bring them up so they can keep them, keep years on the rookie contract and things like that. Do you think we're going to see more of his kind of arc of a player where it doesn't necessarily work out right away, but like you can see the talent there, and eventually down the road, it's going to pay dividends to have had them up as early as they did?
Yeah, I do think that. Yeah, because to this point that we're talking about here, a lot of the top talent is flying through the minor leagues. So a lot of your top prospects, can light it up in the minor leagues against some lesser competition. Whereas, in former years, a lot of the other top prospects would have been down there with them. And it's still the case, obviously. There's tons of top prospects. That's why they're prospects in the minor leagues. But, a lot of the top talent is getting up to the majors so much quicker that, you're seeing more journeyman type guys, especially in like AAA and that area, more journeyman guys who are trying to hang on to careers, in AAA, and these top prospects with all this talent and pedigree are really lighting it up in the minors. Well, then you get to the majors, and every night you're facing the cream of the crop, right? Even the worst pitchers in the majors, would be some of the better pitchers in the minor leagues. So I think a lot of these top guys get up to the majors and they might have struggles initially, but that doesn't mean that we should write them off, especially these top talent guys. If they struggle one year, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're done and dusted. They're never going to be anything. So I think teams are having a little more patience with them. I think fans should have a little more patience. We know that's not going to happen, right? That's why we're fans. But I do think there is definitely some validity to that line of thinking that, we're going to see guys maybe come up and struggle out of the gates a little bit. But then a year later, 2 years later, they might be back right where we thought they would be initially.
Nice. Anything else, man? Anything we've missed? Anything we need to point out? Team we need to talk about? Player? Anything? Managers?
Nah, I'm good.
We're good. All right.
I think we're good. That was kind of a good synopsis here.
I thought it was a good synopsis. I don't know anything. I learned some things. You and Big Link ready for WrestleMania tonight?
He wants to watch, yeah. So we're going to, we'll probably get it fired up on the old Sunroom TV here. 6 o'clock start, I think, right?
Yeah, getting it going early. Yeah. I like that.
I'll probably throw it on for him if he wants to watch. Why not, man? I'll relegate the way the Phillies are playing. I'll relegate him to the small TV here, and we'll get WrestleMania on for the boy and let him watch it. I have no clue what's going on. Don't know what the matches are. Haven't paid attention to wrestling for many years now, but still fun to tune into WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, the big events like that every now and then.
Yeah, all I got, and I think MJ's going to come on the pod too on Monday. We're going to talk about that with some football too. But all I know is Pat McAfee is teamed up with Randy Orton at some point here, and he's facing Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk is facing Roman Reigns. That's all I got. I got nothing else.
I'm really happy to hear that McAfee's going to be on because I love.
I know he's your guy,
McAfee. Big fan. I'm sure he's going to take off his shirt at some point. That's his big thing. I love when he does it on College game day. He's pretty cool. So
he's been wearing sunglasses inside too.
Well,
I know that's one of your other favorites.
That's fine. He's fine. He's all right. I don't really care for him, but that's all right.
We couldn't tell. We couldn't tell from that little Little tirade right there, man. All right, man. I think that was good. We'll call it there. And I appreciate you coming on. And we'll probably you'll be back some point this summer or fall. Talk more baseball with us. So keep that pencil sharp for us.
No doubt, brother. Anytime you need me. Ahead of the draft, Jeremiah Love, top 5 pick in the real draft. I think first round pick in fantasy next year. Yeah. I think so, man. I think so.
All righty. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Wally.
He's here. It's MJ, the official OWH draft correspondent, doing a little pre-NFL draft live show special. We're doing our mock. MJ's got his mock draft coming for us tonight. So, MJ, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I know this show is going to be super long, and I hope if you're listening that you enjoyed Ethan. I don't know am I going to be before Ethan or after?
Well, now
Ethan?
you're going after Ethan because you just set it up that way.
So he does great work, but I hope you're in for a pretty long Ole Walls House podcast. But I'm super excited, man. I can't wait for Thursday. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Nice. Also, before we get to the draft, you and I both were watching Wrestlemania this weekend.
Yep.
So I figured we'd just do a quick breakdown on that before we got into draft stuff.
Yeah.
I'll let you start. What'd you think?
So I saw a clip yesterday, I guess, in accordance to the show. They said something like it felt very, I can't remember the word they used, like very like big corporation.
Yeah.
Like it felt very like watered down with the wrestling part and more just about like, we got to make it kind of like this, kind of rock concert / advertising depot of information. Just like it just didn't really feel like the matches were the main interest for them. Like they just kind of were like, hey, we're just going to have this little story and we'll get it over in 5 or 10 minutes. And then we got these 15 or 20 minutes of things that we just want to see if we can get people to laugh or be entertained. And I just wanted to be entertained by wrestling. And I thought it was just very average, a lot of the matches. I thought there was one really great match and 2 or 3 like good ones. And then the others were just very forgettable to me.
Yeah, like I can only think of like moments that stand out was like the main event Sunday night.
Great. I thought that was great.
CM Punk, fantastic. And I'm kind of a CM Punk hater and think his best days are behind him. But like he showed up for this and looked like he was in better shape. But like beyond that, like Orton punt kicking Cody at the end. And like the I Show Speed diving off the top off the turnbuckle because that was pretty wild, and like Brock Lesnar maybe retiring.
Yeah,
like that's all I thought of as moments. Like you think about WrestleMania, it's like you should have more moments coming out of it. And I'm really worried about what you said about the corporate thing.
Yeah,
as like a guy who doesn't follow wrestling, like I keep up a little bit on like the Instagram clips, so like I had a general idea kind of what's going on. But it feels very corporate anymore because it is a big corporation that owns it now.
Yeah.
The pricing has gone way up on everything. And there've like been stories how Vince McMahon was like, no, we're going to keep prices affordable. Like think whatever you want about Vince McMahon, but like that was a good thing he did.
Yep.
And the TKO board has come out and been like, no, we were priced way underpriced. We're going to keep raising prices. And I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about where it's all going.
I'll say this too. Like the Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes thing I thought could have been really special, but like it felt like, all right, Cody Rhodes is about to turn heel. And then Randy Orton shows face. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton does something heel. And then Cody Rhodes is doing something face. And then he's like he's kind of going back to heel. Then Randy Orton is the face. It was almost like they tried to like 5 times turn each of those guys in that match. It was so weird. And then how it ended was just like, why didn't Randy Orton just win if he was going to do that?
Yeah.
That was weird.
And the heel face thing, like Randy Orton like kind of worked the match like the face, like his back was hurting, like that's the good guy move. Like,
yeah,
I'm overcoming like the injury. And I'm a Pat McAfee fan. Ethan just ran him down earlier in the show.
I'm indifferent,
I like him.
So yeah.
But it's like, why was he there? Like, I didn't catch much of the build. I just showed up and he's like, we're going to save wrestling. But like, he shows up, he gets thrown out in the first couple seconds of the match, comes back, slow counts a pin, and then Randy Orton RKO's him?
Well, can we go back to the Jelly Roll thing? Jelly Roll just appears on the outside and just drop elbows into the Spanish announce table or whatever, and then just you never see him before and you never see him after. It like everything about WrestleMania, I would say, like if there were 50 things that happened, 45 of them felt either underwhelming or clunky.
Mm-hmm.
And like I did like the ladder match. That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was fun. I liked CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I thought that was, thank God that happened.
Yeah.
And I like to look at Liv Morgan and all that. So that was all right.
That's not bad ever.
It's not bad. So like there were some okay moments. The Danhausen thing, I just don't get it, but
I don't either.
There was just a lot of stuff where I was kind of like, I caught myself scrolling on my phone a little bit. You know what I mean?
I was a lot of scrolling. It was second TV for me for large portions. Yeah, I don't know. I think it missed. And I think we got like tricked into this like sense that like the WrestleMania 2 years ago when Cody Rhodes won the title for the first time and they just pulled out all the stops.
Yeah.
Like it kind of broke us. Like, cause now we're sitting there and the match, the Sunday night match, Reigns and Punk was a really good match. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what are they doing? Well, they got cooked up.
Yep.
And it was the same way last year in the Cena Rhodes match.
Yep.
They ended up like trotting Travis Scott out there because I think The Rock
waste of time,
just bailed. But it was like they went so hard a couple years ago that now I'm just like, there's something coming. Like we're gonna do something crazy now, right? And I think it kind of ruined us a little bit.
I'll say one last thing on the whole big picture of it. I get the 2 nights thing. I get it. It's fine. But I'd rather have 3.5, 4 hours one night and have a cluster of good storylines and good wrestling matches than 2 nights of underwhelming 5-10 minute matches that don't really do anything.
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I was just a little disappointed because I
do
was
like done last night at 9:30.
Yeah, which I don't mind that.
I don't mind. I like that. It was 8:30 my time.
Yeah, it's not bad that way, but it was the crowd sucked too. The crowd was terrible. I thought they just weren't involved, and maybe it was because it sucked. But sometimes that helps if the crowd's into it. But
it's the thing. It's like you go to these big stadiums, and the prices are astronomical. It's like you can't just get a bunch of buddies there drinking beer, having a good time anymore. It's like I went to Royal Rumble a couple years ago. It's like I paid a lot of money to do that. And like, hey, I was up there screaming and being an idiot, but like, I'm not doing it again. Like in the near future.
No,
like they're doing SummerSlam up in Minneapolis, and it's like not happening. That's not. I'm not forking out another G to go do that.
It's a lot.
Yeah. All right. We got WrestleMania out of our system.
I love it.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to the big board. Let's get to the draft. Let's go, MJ. What do we got? Leading us off.
What do you want to know?
The Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock.
Are we going right to the mock here?
Do you have other things? Do you want to? Do you want to give me something else,
brother? I can do whatever you want. I got. You should see this table in front of me.
Hey, before we get to that,
yeah.
A word from our sponsors. Nice shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I was shouting it out this week on the Full Range podcast. Old-walls-shop.fourthwall.com. Full Range Old Walls House podcast merch. Check it out.
Bingo. Nailed it. All right. Go wherever you want to go, man.
Okay, no, we can. So I'll say this before I go. We'll go right into the mock 2.0. So if you're a Full Range listener, I did no trades, kind of just straightforward what I felt what I would do for each team last week on my show, the Full Range podcast. But this week, like I kind of alluded to it last week on my show, this year feels this is one of the hardest years in the 8 or so years that I've been kind of trying to do some of this stuff, I think ever. Like it just feels like this is a really good draft, not a great one. And the reason I say that is, many mocks, if you're into the NFL and been watching any draft coverage, linebacker, running back, safety are all very prevalent in the top 10. And that's very rare if you really think about the draft in years past. And I've often wondered over the last few weeks trying to narrow down some of these teams and who they might pick. It feels weird mocking some of these guys so high because of the positional value that some of these guys have. And, for instance, we'll talk about Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State, Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. Those are
Ohio State in like the top 15. I'm going to say,
but even some of the receivers are getting some like 5. I haven't even seen 4, like 4 to 10. Like maybe 2 receivers go in the top 10.
Yeah,
like that's even a very rare thing.
Like even the kid from Arizona State, I've seen as
Jordan
high
Tyson,
as to like the Chiefs and some at 9.
Yeah, so it's one of those. It feels very different in a way where like it's normally have your top edge rushers, your quarterbacks, your offensive linemen, and maybe a running back or receiver sprinkled in there in like a top 10 to 15. And then it starts to go into like you start seeing your defensive tackles and your linebackers and your running backs go between that 15 and 30 range. And it's kind of like flipped a little bit on its head this year. So,
yeah, I mean, just the one I'm looking at right now, it's quarterback, linebacker, edge, running back, safety, wide receiver, cornerback, edge, offensive tackle, defensive tackle. That's the top 10. And just this one I'm looking at.
Defensive tackle in the top 10, huh?
Peter Woods. This one has Peter Woods to the Giants.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I just it's a weird year, I think, overall.
I think that's also kind of evident, like that the teams think that too, because you've seen a number of teams kind of like stacking up 27 picks. Like the Packers seem to be kind of loading up on 27.
Yeah. This feels like a draft where we're going to see, I think, a ton of really good pros that are going to be in the league for a long time. I just don't know. I don't think there's going to be a ton of star power because you just don't have that quarterback class. You don't have, and I think a lot of times drafts are kind of unfairly ranked on their quarterbacks and stuff. So, the fact that we're probably only going to get 1, possibly 2 in the first round is just right there. It's kind of like, all right, it's just going to push a lot of guys that are normally in that 6 to 18 range down to the 2 to 12 or whatever it might be. So yeah, we can dive into this. So, all right, what is it? What's the sound? Doom, 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 or whatever, right? Okay. Las Vegas Raiders, staying put. Now, I will say, everybody, this is a wild one for 2.0. I put trades in this thing, which I normally don't do.
Here we go.
So this is some outlandish stuff. Do I think any of this might happen? Probably not. But we're going to have some fun because I'm fucking excited. So Las Vegas Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. It's the pick, man. I just don't think he's not my best player in the draft. He's I'll tell you, my 16th best player, but he plays quarterback in the NFL. So,
and the Raiders need a quarterback.
Yep. So I do like this Raiders team, man. I think they have a lot of potential to be above average this year, to be honest with you. I think their defense is really good. They did a lot of good things in free agency. If they can get decent quarterback play from Mendoza and Genti kind of starts to find his way, and maybe they pick up a late round wide receiver that can give some depth with Brock Bowers, I think the Raiders are kind of moving in a decent direction right now. I like it.
I agree that that's what's going to happen because I think it's pretty obvious, but I don't like the pick.
Yeah, well, no, I think there's some concerns with like all the RPO stuff that Mendoza ran in college, but he improved every year. He's accurate. He's a big body. He's got some straight line speed. My only concerns are just the RPO stuff and looking beyond kind of that first read because he gets a little tiptoey in the pocket, can get a little panicky, and that's when his accuracy gets a little off. But I will say this about him. He's everything I think mentally you look for in a quarterback. Like he's tough. He's a winner. He's not a bad attitude guy. He's going to lead his weird autistic way. But he has those things that are definitely, I think, even close to an elite level in a quarterback. So that's a big thing to hang your hat on if you're a Raiders fan.
Yep. Next up.
All right, number 2. Yep. I got some phone calls for the number 2 pick here in New York. But with the Jets having the 2nd and the 16th pick and even the 33rd and 44th, I mean, they have 4 picks in the top 44. I just don't know if they trade back and try to get more picks. They've unloaded a little bit. There's been some late run on David Bailey. And I think there's 2 reasons, if you've heard this, that they canceled David Bailey's, the edge rusher from Texas Tech, his 30 visit. I think there's only 2 reasons. Either 1, they feel really comfortable if that's who they're going to go with, so they don't need to talk to him. They've seen enough. Or 2, they know this pick is going to be Arvell Reese, the linebacker / edge from Ohio State, and that's who I went with. I just think the ceiling there is very Micah Parsons like. He's a athletic freak. He's going to need time to develop if he's just going to be a pass rusher only. But his flexibility in kind of a total rebuild in New York, I think, is a good piece to have for Aaron Glenn and kind of his defensive scheme stuff. So,
and they use guys like an Arvell Reese, like you mentioned, Micah. Like they just don't line him up on the edge and be like, hey, that's where you are now. Like, he's a guy they're going to put all over the field. They're going to try and find him the best matchup. They're going to let him loose. So I don't get as worried about that. Like that was what they said about Mike. He's undersized. And it's like, well, they'll just find a spot and put him. And like, when you're that much of a freak, you're that much of a freak, and you figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, he's a little light for kind of a pass rush only type of edge. But man, he's special as an athlete, and you just I think he's a 1-year starter for Ohio State, or maybe I'm thinking of Sonny Styles, but he's unreal. Like, I mean, that defense was full of unreal guys, but yeah. All right, so number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. Wally,
we got
news. Picked up the phone.
Yep,
they have picked up the phone, and there is a trade. Now, I don't think this is actually going to happen, but damn it, it's fun, man. It is fun. So the Kansas City Chiefs have called the New York Jets from the number 9 spot, and they have offered them picks 9 and 40 in this year's draft. And the Cardinals need a lot of bodies, and they need a lot of offensive line help. They need a lot of quarterback. They need a lot of things in Arizona. And the Kansas City Chiefs have gone up and not selected David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. They have traded for the best player on the board, Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame.
Interesting, MJ.
Dynamic, pass catching, pass protection. He's, to me, by far the best running back in the class, and he's my best player in the draft. I don't think there's a hole in his game, and I think this is a weird pick because I think they've unloaded some cornerback and secondary stuff, and I think 9 is probably more of that range for maybe the first corner or 2 to go off the board. But when you're Andy Reid, that offense is getting a little older with Kelsey. Mahomes has been a little bit more banged up. Let's give them another weapon, and let's see if we can piece together some edge rushers and stuff. And this is a deep edge class. Let's see if we can kind of help out that secondary and edge rushing group later in the draft. Let's go get the best player.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have pick number 29 if you're the Chiefs here too. So you still got another first-round pick at the end.
And the Arizona running back room feels a little too crowded for that to go for Love anyway.
They could go for Love. There's been some murmurs that they're interested in, but I think that's a little smoky just to see if I think they want
if you can get somebody to bite.
Yeah, I think they want somebody to come up. So we're going with the Chiefs.
All right. The Titans on the clock now.
Yeah. A lot of Sonny Styles here. But in this one, man, if David Bailey, the edge from Texas Tech, is available, I think Robert Saleh, first-year coach in Tennessee, best pass rusher at this moment, I feel, with just the whole package. Run stopping, bend is good, first step off the snap is really good. Like I think you go get the best pure pass rusher right now in David Bailey.
Gotcha. Like it. The New York Football Giants.
Yeah, made some news this week.
What'd they do? Oh, no, they made a trade.
Yeah,
they made a trade.
They traded Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals for pick 10. So they got 2 top 10 picks. I hate this for myself. This is weird.
Can I take a guess then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Caleb Downs?
It is not Caleb Downs.
Ah.
It's Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State. I do think Caleb Downs is in play here. I do. I think the Giants could go offense-defense or defense-offense here. I wouldn't even be surprised if Jeremiah Love maybe goes to New York and teams up with Scadabo, because I think Harbaugh likes that too, running back monster type of thing. Justice Hill, Derrick Henry, all that kind of stuff. But Sonny Styles, man, he's a Madden player, like a creative player. He's 6'5", 242, 4'4", 640. Like, he's still developing, and he's still a top 5 to 10 draft pick. I think this is a home run if you're a Giants fan, and they need linebacker help. And I think this is a good pick for them.
I want to just, when you say Madden player, I mean, just look at the fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's
a freak of nature, man.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
All right.
Yeah. And he's not going to he's not a criminal, and he's not going to beat somebody up or something. And, he's a good leader. This is a good pick for the Giants. I just hate it as a Cowboys fan.
All right. The Cleveland Browns. Still some Buckeyes on the boards.
Yes,
for them to go get.
Ring, ring, ring.
Another one.
The LA Rams have called the Cleveland Browns.
The Rams are coming way up.
A lot of people mocking the Cowboys to come up from 12 to 6 to possibly get Caleb Downs here. I do think the Cowboys do pick up the phone and ask, but I would not like them to get rid of pick 12 and 20 to do it. And I think the Browns kind of have the ball in their court, maybe balls in the vice a little bit here. And I'd like to see the Cowboys not give up 20. If they could do 12 and maybe 90, whatever they have, and maybe like a next year's 3rd or 4th, I'm all in. But the LA Rams, Super Bowl ready, an aging Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, little injury history. Got Stafford probably on the last year or so. That defense got out even better in free agency and through the trade market. They go up with picks. What is it? 13 next year's 2nd and this year's pick 93. And they go up.
Yeah, I said way up. I forgot they had that 13.
Yep. They come up and get Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State, and they're all in for the Super Bowl this year.
It feels like they've been all in for the Super Bowl for like 6 years somehow.
Yeah.
That also just proves to me that like teams can be all in more than they are.
Dude, just think of this for a second, folks. Devontae
The Chiefs
Adams.
and the Rams have been all in for 12 years.
But think of this. You still got Kyron Williams in the backfield, a pretty good offensive line. You have Devontae Adams outside, Carnell Tate on the other side, and Puka Nacua running all over the place. All those motion actions that McVay likes to do. I mean, if everybody's healthy, how does this offense be stopped? In the defense, like I said, they got both corners from the Chiefs, and they still have Jared Verse, and this defense is really good. The Rams are going all in for this year.
You could see it. They like to go all in.
Yep.
All right, pick 7.
All right. No phone calls for this one.
I was going to say, are we going to do it again?
No, we're going with a Dan Quinn guy here. We're going with Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. My heart is broken even more. It's my favorite player in the draft. Former linebacker, moved to safety, tackles well. He doesn't do anything elite-wise, speed or anything like that, but he's solid, above average to everything. He's the best safety in the class. Caleb Downs, a Washington Commander.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him go as high as like 3, I think, in some.
Yeah, that'd be
wild.
But yeah. And this is the weird, man. We've already had a linebacker, receiver, and a safety in the top 7. It's weird. Yep. But
number 8, the New Orleans Saints.
Yep. Could go a lot of different ways here. I went with Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. Let's keep him in Louisiana. I think this is the most consistent non-injured corner on the board. He's sticky in coverage. He's a little small in the frame, especially like his bottom half, like his legs look a little small and stuff, but he was outstanding for LSU in that secondary, which the secondary at LSU is very good. But I like this pick for New Orleans. It fills a need. The edge rushers are kind of off the board a little bit here. Could be a Caleb Downs if he is available, but I went with Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU.
All right, the number 9 pick, and I'm already confused on who's where.
I got you.
I think that's the Cardinals, right?
It is the Cardinals. So the Cardinals have moved back. Some people mocking this for them at 3. They slide back to 9 and pick up some more picks. And they go with Francis Maunoa, the offensive tackle from Miami. They still get their guy that they could get at 3. Weird to say that the first offensive lineman's off the board at 9. But I think this is a really good pick for them. He could slide into guard if he needs to. He can be a right tackle, I think, probably better than left. But he's a mauler. He needs some time to develop a little bit in the pass protect, especially. He's got a little bit of lack of quickness. Or I guess I should say speed, but I think this is a really good pick. He's not my best offensive lineman on the board, but I think that's who they go with in Arizona.
I was going to ask, you think him above Spencer Furneaux?
I just think the scouts and analysts that I respect and listen to a lot, even if they have Fano over him, they seem to be mocking him before. So that tells me some GMs and team scouts might like him more. So,
gotcha. Number 10 for the no, this isn't
New
the
York
Giants.
Giants.
Oh, it is the Giants.
Yeah.
See, I'm already turned around, MJ.
Yep. So they got their linebacker at 5 in Sonny Styles. Now they go for a home run here to try to give Jackson Dart another weapon. They go with Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. Injury history is the big concern here a little bit for me. So he's been banged up. He's a very polarizing wide receiver in this draft. He can, he's a little bit of a diva, but he's got quick release off the line. He's twitchy. He can separate. He's not overly fast, but he's a good route runner. He's improved his hands. This is one of those guys where teams are either going to love him and maybe have him top receiver, or they have him probably in that 3 to 5 slot in their receiver kind of clump there. So I go with the Giants going Jordan Tyson to pair up with Malik Neighbors.
Not a bad little 1-2 combo there.
Yeah.
Next up, the Miami Dolphins at number 11.
I wanted to move them. They got some calls. Miami is weird to me because I think you bring in Malik Willis and then trade your team away.
Yeah,
weird.
That felt weird.
And there's been rumors of Jordan Brooks, their linebacker, maybe being on the trade block. The Cowboys have shown interest. I'd love for the Cowboys to give up their 3rd-round pick for Jordan Brooks, their linebacker. All-pro linebacker. I think it'd be fantastic for him, especially losing out on Sonny Styles and maybe like a Caleb Downs in this draft so far. But they get stuck here. I don't think they get the right phone call. I go with Reuben Bain Jr., edge from Miami. They need everything. There's not a position where I think the Miami would say no to drafting. So I'm going with a player that's also has some issues that scouts are concerned about. There was the car accident a couple years ago, I think his sophomore year in college, that led to like another person's death shortly after the car accident, which was, I think, is kind of nor here or there, I think, in a lot of NFL teams' eyes at this point. But interesting.
I was going to say, it feels like it's made him fall maybe a couple slots.
Yeah.
It feels like he could go 6-ish if somebody felt comfortable with it.
Yep. The one thing that I'll give you a little tidbit here, there's not, at least in the last 25 years, Wally, there's not been a first-round edge rusher drafted with 31-inch arm or less than 31-inch arm length, and he's sitting at 30 and 7/8 inches.
I love a good arm length, hand size discussion.
It's a big deal for NFL teams. It really can be, and that I think more than the kind of off-field stuff, which I don't really put a lot of eggs in that basket. But that could be the one thing where we're like, maybe we sit here at like 20, and we're like, Reuben Bain hasn't been picked yet, and that could be a reason why. But I think they keep him down in Florida, and he's a Miami Dolphin.
Okay. Your boys on the clock.
Yes, they are.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, the phone has rang, Wally.
Hey!
The phone
Holy
has
cow.
rang.
God, I hope there's this many trades Thursday. It would be so much fun.
I can't wait. So with Downs being gone, Sonny Styles being gone, even Reuben Bain Jr., I think, is kind of a guy that the Cowboys have watched closely. I think they're out on Jermod McCoy, the corner from Tennessee who had the ACL last year, missed all last season for Tennessee. They weren't able to go up and maybe draft a David Bailey or Caleb Downs, as I mentioned, or Sonny Styles. So I think they try to look to go back. I think the best players on their board are offense right now, and I don't think they go offense unless maybe a Jeremiah Love for some reason. Maybe, I don't know. But the Carolina Panthers have called the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And are moving up to 12. The Cowboys receive pick 19 and 51. So they get a second-round pick, and the Panthers receive 12.
It's like mid-late second, yeah.
And the Carolina Panthers go up and get my best offensive tackle, Spencer Fano from Utah. I think he's clean in all the really, really important areas for offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles. When you're looking at left or right tackles, he's a hardworking kid. He's smart. I love this for the Panthers. I know like maybe defense or even some wide receiver help could be a Panthers pick at 19, but I like them going up, man. I think they start to feel in this draft like, these offensive linemen are starting to go now that Maunoa is gone and everything. Like, we might have to go up and get our guy, and I think they go get some more protection for Bryce Young and company in Carolina.
I don't think he's there at 12.
I don't think so either, but yeah. It
All
is
right.
in mine.
We dealt the Rams pick away.
The Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns. Okay. How can they screw this up?
I actually like this pick for them. They need every.
So they won't do it.
They need every offensive lineman that they can get. Young, offensive lineman. They don't know who's playing quarterback, and I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback at least in this first round. I really don't think so. I think they go up or they drop back a little bit, get some more picks, and they take Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle from Georgia. I think he's only been a starter for 1 year for Georgia. That's not crazy to say for a Georgia team, but he's going to need time. He's a big body. I think he can move into guard for a little while, but then be a staple at right tackle for a long time. And he's only gotten better through his one starting season. This is a player that I think is like ascending a little bit. He's young, but the Browns have time. They have time. So I think that he could be their right tackle this year and really get some good reps and improve. And I like this pick for the Browns.
Nice. All right, number 14, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, sir. All right.
New look Baltimore Ravens this year.
Okay. A lot of different ways here that they could go. Defensive tackle, maybe. It's a little rich for me. They need some interior offensive line. Maybe you go for a wide receiver. If Tyson or Carnell Tate's in range, maybe they go up. But I think they stay right here.
So you don't like Akeem here.
Messidor?
Yeah.
No, I don't. That's a little rich for me. That's just me. I think they go get the best offensive guard in the draft with Ole Ioane from Penn State.
Never. I know him,
Wally.
obviously, but I'm never going to be able to pronounce that name ever in my life.
Well, you can call him Vega Ioane, and that's good. They call him Vega for short. So this is my favorite offensive lineman in the draft. He's a fucking animal, Wally.
Well, that was supposed to be Penn State's whole thing this year, was that the line was supposed to be awesome. So,
well, he's really good. I think if I had to put my house up for a bet out of the top 32 players in this draft to play 10 years or more, like health not being an issue, this would be the player I'd put my house on. I think the Ravens go get one here. They go get an animal.
We're putting the mortgage on something. I love it. Yep. All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock.
Okay. The phone is rang, Wally.
Yes.
The Buccaneers have gotten a call to move back to pick 23. They also pick up 54 from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles getting a little aggressive.
Yes, they are. They go up, and they're a little nervous with the Lions, especially the Vikings, being on the board. They go up and get Dylan Thieneman, the safety from Oregon, to put in that secondary with Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, really solidify that back end. I really like this player. I'd love to see him in a Cowboys uniform in the safety room. He's rangy. He is white, if that doesn't tickle your fancy out there. So the second white in Philadelphia's secondary. But he's a really, really good player. A lot of people even like him more than Caleb Downs. So not a lot, but some. So I think the Eagles go up, give the Buccaneers a couple more picks, and they go get their safety.
I'm going to point out that we have reached the point of the evening where I am just completely lost with these guys. So you're essentially on your own from here out. I'm just here to guide you, MJ.
Hey, I'm here to teach, brother. I'm here to teach.
Number 16 now.
All right, so the Jets.
I take that back. I know this guy, the mock I'm looking at has.
Okay.
Here.
I really like what the Jets have done. Arvell Reese, and now they go help out the offense with wide receiver Mekhi Lemon from USC. I think this is a really good pick to pair him with Garrett Wilson, who's more of that, X receiver. He's going to be outside.
He's looking to take the ball deep, take the top off the defense.
And I think Lemon is a great slot receiver. I have him as my second best wide receiver in the class. To get him at 16, I think is a home run for the Jets. And they also just got Arvell Reese in this draft, too. So I think this is a home run for the Jets.
I've seen him there. I've seen Omar Cooper Jr., who is the guy I was talking about.
Yep.
I've seen pretty much all wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, they're going wide receiver at this slot. All right. Detroit Lions at 17.
This was a tough one for me, man. I don't know. The Lions are a wild card, and I just kept them here.
They're liable to do something.
They are. But I couldn't figure out what they really want to do. I went with offensive tackle here. I think they're a run-first, play-action team with Jared Goff. They've lost David Montgomery. You still got to protect Goff in the passing game. I went with a little bit of a weird one, but I went with Blake Miller, the offensive tackle from Clemson. I felt like the offensive tackles that were left were outstanding in some areas, but really had me concerned in others, where Blake Miller just felt more sturdy or average, at least, in most of the important things. Footwork, pass protection, not getting confused with stunts and, those things. So I went with Blake Miller to help out the offensive line. This one, there was a couple in this mock where I felt weird. This was one of them at 17 with the Lions. But I like the pick for him. I think they are definitely looking at offensive line.
Okay. Vikings, 18.
Yeah. Thieneman gone from the safety. I think everybody and their mother have the Vikings taken the safety from Oregon. It felt like that. But now he's gone. I'm going with the polarizing player here, Jermon McCoy, the corner from Tennessee.
Those are the two names on this mock that I'm looking at.
ACL injury kept him out of 2025. The 2024 tape is outstanding, and many teams probably have him as their best corner by far, even over Delane in this draft. But the injury is always concerning. It slows guys down. It takes a year kind of to get back into things. I understand the Vikings could go all sorts of different ways here, but I just feel like the talent level here is just too much for me to keep dropping them. So I went with the best corner I think that's left in this draft so far.
All right. 19 supposed to be the Panthers, but they've moved up. Hang on. Don't let me dial back. Nope. I'm lost.
It's okay. We got some back-to-back picks for the Dallas Cowboys here.
The Cowboys, damn it.
The Dallas Cowboys have moved back because they were bum rushed with a bunch of their defensive guys that they like. They drop back to 19, and at this point, they could probably drop back again. But we're going to keep it back-to-back here. The Cowboys...
The double drop back.
The Cowboys select Akeem Mesidor, edge from Miami. My one concern with him, he's going to be 25 years old this weekend. So that's a little concern, and I think could make him slide. Yes. Powerful edge. I don't necessarily love his speed rush ability, but I think he can really help in the run game. And I think with Christian Parker's new defensive scheme, I think guys like Rashawn Gary, that it's more about what they're causing in the backfield with the run game and just closing the pocket type stuff. I think Mesidor is a good pick here. I'm not going to be like hooray about this pick, but I think he's a 3-down starter in the league, and I think that's valuable. And at this point, we're starting to get to the point where there's not first round grades on a lot of these players. The
best ability is availability, MJ.
Yeah, I just think this is a guy that helps out your edge rush, helps out your defensive run game on the defense side of the ball. So, I don't love it. I'd rather a lot of other guys, but at this point, at 19, I'm comfortable with Mesidor.
All right. They run it back.
They do. At number 20.
You know what's annoying to me?
Yeah.
If there's ever teams with back-to-back picks, you would think they'd be able to just fire them in.
No,
we'd get the whole 20 minutes.
And then the pick comes in with 47 seconds left.
Yeah.
And there's still another 2 minutes before you get the pick.
Yeah.
I think
sidebar, didn't they shorten the time between picks this year?
I think so.
While you're looking
that up. This one's a little bit of a surprise, I think, for everybody. I love this player. We're going with Chris Johnson, the corner from San Diego State for the Dallas Cowboys. They missed out on the safety. They missed out on, I don't think they're going to draft McCoy even if he's available, but they missed out on Delane. 6'1", 194 pounds, instinctive, rangy, kind of a ball hawk kid, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in the run game. Sometimes he's going to get ran over because he's a little skinny, not physically imposing, and will get lost in some really good route running receiver type things. But hey, this is why we hired Christian Parker. He's the secondary whisperer he's supposed to be. He's the next coming of the great defensive coordinators. So we go with Chris Johnson, the corner from San Diego State. So they got their edge and they got their corner. There you go.
All righty. And it is down to 8 this year.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Instead of being like 18 minutes per pick, it'll be about 15 to 16.
Yeah.
21 is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, to me, a little bit of a reach here, but I love the player. I'm going with Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver from Indiana. I think this is a really good
I don't think
pick.
it's a reach.
To me, it is a little.
I think he goes higher.
Okay. All right. I could see it. I'm going to
make a note of how wrong I am.
I like this player a lot, man. He does everything well. He can go in the slot. He can go outside. I think this is a nice combo with DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., whoever their quarterback is. Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it's somebody else. But could the Steelers go offensive line here? Yeah. Could they go defense? Yeah. But I think the way this board fell, I think Omar Cooper Jr. is a very, very solid receiver at 21 with 4 receivers already gone off the board now. So
do we get the run-on receivers early in from like picks 7 to like 18?
It's fucking weird, man. It's weird because that's normally like a 12 through 25 thing, you know? But all right.
The Chargers are still there. They have not been on the phones too much to make a big move. Yep. So the Chargers are here at 22.
Ring, ring, motherfucker.
Hey, they're making one, though.
Yep, they're dropping back. So I think they really wanted Mesidor, the edge. Cowboys scooped him up. I think they could maybe even go offensive line here, but I think they need some defensive help up front besides edge. I'm just going with my heart here, Wally. I'm going with my heart. The Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Call the Chargers. They give them pick 25 and 89 to move up to 22, and they take my guy, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State. I think they're nervous about Tampa Bay being now at 23 instead of the Eagles, and maybe even the Browns at 24, taking one of their defensive tackles. Could this be Peter Woods, the defensive tackle, Clemson? Yes. But I think McDonald's the best defensive tackle in the class. The Bears move up and get McDonald from Ohio State. This guy's a fucking stud, dude. I don't care what anybody says. I love this kid. He's going to be a monster.
MJ's on setting the record straight right there. All right, 23.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
You just said it. I was like, yep. You teed me up, and I was like, oh, I know it now, and then I lost it. So Tampa Bay Bucks, 23.
So I think the Bucks wanted to go edge at 15. They didn't like what they were going to overpay. So they drop back with the Eagles coming up to get the safety, which honestly the Bucks could get a safety there. But I'm going with a guy that I don't necessarily love on the edge, Keldrick Falk, the edge from Auburn, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This kid could go. There's some teams that I've seen mocks that the Cowboys might take him at 12. I just think that would be a travesty to me. But that's just my opinion. I think with McDonald off the board, they could even go with Woods, the defensive tackle here. But I think they have more options at 23 that they have clumped together. And I went with Keldrick Falk, the edge from Auburn.
Nice. All right, 24, the Browns.
Yep, they're going to stay here. This is a weird one to me. They picked up Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle from Georgia. They go with Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver from Texas A&M here. It's mocked all over the place. I don't love it, but like a true X receiver is going to get downfield. They bring in some offensive line help with Freeling. Now they get a receiver that they can develop over the next year or two while they're trying to find a quarterback. The Browns need a lot of work, so take a shot on a talented kid.
I think you said it. I think you were talking about Browns. Like, they need help everywhere.
Yes.
So 25, the Chargers now.
All right.
Right, the Chargers?
Yep, the Chargers. I'm going with a kid that I think is listed as an offensive tackle, but could really help them inside in Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle from Alabama. Big mauler, great strength, needs more time to be consistent with his footwork. But I think a move to guard for a little while for the Chargers. They have Rashawn Slater at tackle in Los Angeles, almost at San Diego. But I think Proctor being inside for a little while and then maybe moving out to right tackle could really help solidify that offensive line for a long time. So I went with my next best offensive lineman here.
Okay. The Bills, man, feels like defense or maybe wide receiver here.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to wait.
Ding, da, ding, ding, ding. We have a trade.
Yes, we do. The Houston Texans have made a phone call up from 28 to 26. They give the Bills pick 28 and pick 106, and Houston gets 26. And the Texans need some interior offensive line help. They're seeing a lot of these kind of offensive tackles, guards. There was a big run in the mid to late teens, and they're worried about San Francisco in front of them. They're even worried about possibly the Bills maybe getting one here. So they go up and get their guy, Chase Bisontes, the guard from Texas A&M, who's been mocked to them a lot at 28. But I think they get concerned here and they move up 2 spots to pick him at 26.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree. 27, the 49ers.
Yeah, another one that's been this to me is just best player available for the 49ers. Like, I think obviously injury bugs and
they got that substation.
Yeah. So I think the 49ers could go all sorts of different ways here. I'm going with Caleb Lomu, the offensive tackle from Utah, here for the 49ers. He's going to need some time, I think.
That feels like it fits, though. They like he a big fella?
He is, yeah.
They like the big fellas out there in San Fran.
They do. I think this is just a solid pick, and I think this is actually right around the range where I would have him. But I like this pick for the 49ers. Do you want to know exactly how big he is?
Yeah.
He is hold on. He's 6'6", 313 pounds. He ran his 40 in 4.99 seconds.
Come on.
His hand size is 9 5/8. His arm length is 33 3/4. He's a big boy. And he's still growing. Like the kid's 21 years old.
So he's wear a 9 3/8 hat.
Yeah, he could
just wrap his hand around my head.
Yes.
4'9"? You're not supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I just like this kid's potential down the road, and I think the 49ers are in a spot where they can be a little flexible here with a pick, and I like taking a chance on some really high upside talent here.
All right, now we got the Bills.
I'm going with Denzel Boston, the wide receiver from Washington, 6'4", 4.40. He's not like the twitchiest guy, like at the top of his routes and stuff, but man, he's a burner. He can go up over the top. I think the kid playing in Washington and then being able to go to Buffalo says a lot, where like you always kind of get concerned with, like, example, Keon Coleman being in Florida State and then going up to Buffalo. You're not sure, like, cold weather. Yep. Washington's got a bunch of different weather out there. I don't think he's going to be bothered by a lot of stuff. And I think this gives Josh Allen in that offense like a kind of a true X receiver for them.
Which they've lacked.
Yes, they have.
All right, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are still here, right?
Yes, they are.
They had to have been on Boston, kind of like they have to be eyeing him up a little bit too. Like there could be some potential
I think so.
Shenanigans with them trying to move around, maybe. Feels
so they went up in this draft, all the way up to 3, and they got Jeremiah Love. So, you're looking at this offense in kind of a lot of holes on defense. I'm going with a player that's on offense. I'm going all in with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going with a guy that I have potential on being the 14th pick, or to me, I think he could drop out of the first round. And I don't see a lot of mocks doing this, but I think there's potential there that he doesn't make it the first round. I'm going with Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon.
He's way up here on this one.
Undersized. He's only about 6 foot, 6'1". He's a small tight end, but the man is made out of a brick shit house, man. He is fast, physical. He's a good blocker for being undersized. He can move some people. He's strong as hell. He's had a little history of some drops, but to me, this is Travis Kelce's last year. Why not let him kind of take him under his wing a little bit here? Like I said before, I think this edge class, the defensive tackles that are still on the board, I think even the corners that are still on the board, I think there's a lot of depth in those positions. I think the Chiefs can wait, and I think going up and get Jeremiah Love, and now all the way at 29, being able to take Sadiq, kind of a project there for Andy Reid. I think they've helped their offense tremendously with some more weapons here, and they can. I still believe that they can still help out the defensive holes later, second round with pick, or third round with pick 74. They still have a 109. I think this is still really good for the Chiefs.
This guy is jacked. 4'3'9".
Mm-hmm.
With a 43.5-inch vertical, too.
Freak of nature.
And he's jacked to the tits.
Yes. Got a little bit of a drop history. He's got some
fix
yips.
That.
Yep. You got to get on the machine a little bit.
All right. Dolphins at 30. This one interests me.
Yeah, Dolphins are weird, man. They feel very Browns-ish to me this year, where I'm just like, I don't fucking know what they're going to do.
Well, I feel like this one, it's like here or the Cleveland Browns' late pick or Ty Simpson's only chances to make the first round.
I agree. Yeah.
Unless someone moves up out of the second to come grab him.
So I went a little simpler here. So, if you remember back, they got Reuben Bain Jr. at 11, which was a little bit of a surprise for some people. With the short arm kind of stuff there. I like for the Dolphins here, Colton Hood, the corner from Tennessee. Very, very solid. I know you're still looking at this offense and you're like, come on, Matt. They got Devon Achane and Malik Willis. And then it's like Jalen Tolbert, Malik Washington, and I think Tutu Atwell are the receivers in Miami right now. Can't we help a brother out a little bit?
Yeah.
But at the
same time, we're going read option down there with Malik.
Unless they move, I just think the best player available for them is when you're a bad team, that's what you got to do. If that's your guy and he's your best player, don't reach for a wide receiver just because, or don't reach for a tight end just because.
They're not a year away.
No, I don't think so either. So I do like this wide receiver class again. You can still go get somebody with pick 43. Maybe you move up, you combine 43 and 87 and come up early in the second round and come get your wide receiver if you want to. So, there's still guys like Gurmy Bernard from Alabama. Chris Bell's kind of a Debo Samuel type from Louisville. You still have those guys that you can go get in the second round. So, to me, Colton Hood, I think, to me, is a first-round talent at corner. And you got a need there, too. So you just got a decent edge, and now you got a decent corner to help build that Dolphins defense kind of back up after blowing everything up.
Yeah. And defensive-minded head coach there this year with Hafley. So it'd be interesting to see where he wants to go with that. Patriots, Super Bowl participant, New England Patriots. A little bit of a ruckus going around in New England and the organizations this year.
Oh, yeah. What's her name? Diana Rossini? Is that what it is? Yeah. Shout out Diana Rossini.
Hates her husband. Have you seen all the clips?
Fuck, dude. What the hell,
What a
man?
bitch.
Seriously.
Just lighting him up repeatedly.
God, damn. Man. Anyways.
Buddy, get out, get half, call it a day.
So, sneaky here for the Patriots. Patriots in a great spot, man. They have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 picks in this draft. A lot of that is from picks 1 to 125 and beyond. But they could be some movers here, I think. There's rumors this week with the A.J. Brown thing. Could that happen Thursday night? I think that's a possibility. I really do. This player to me is one of my favorites. He's my second best linebacker, and he just screams New England Patriot to me. I went with Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech. This guy he takes the ball away. He's solid everywhere. He's not terrible in pass drops. He can get off blocks and shed through guards, pulling. But my main thing is he takes the ball away. And I think Patriots need some edge help here. And with the edge rushers, how it's kind of fallen, I love Rodriguez in a Patriots uniform. I think this just screams Patriots to me.
Perfect. And then the Seattle Seahawks, the defending champions, do they pick a backup to replace?
I don't think so. So can I be honest with you, Wally?
Hit me.
I dove deep into thinking, like, who can move up into this first round? Because the Seattle Seahawks only have picks 32, 64, 96, and 188. That's not a lot of picks, but they're also pretty loaded.
Yeah,
in a lot of areas. This to me could be edge rusher. It could be corner. It could even be wide receiver, I think. I think a team could trade up, and I looked really hard. Like, do the Jags, they got a lot of picks. Do the Jags try to come up and get maybe not a quarterback, but somebody that maybe a running back, maybe the other kid from Notre Dame, where they want to get a fifth-year option on him. You know what I mean? They just, like, maybe they want to have a little leniency with Kenneth Walker, right? Did he leave?
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker. Yeah. So,
he's
like,
the Chiefs.
Yes. So, like, do we, maybe have some flexibility there with a fifth-year option being in the first round? But I went with Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson, because he was just my best player. And to me, Seattle is just one of those teams that just picks really good players. And they just continue to do it and continue to stay relevant. And now they're Super Bowl champions, I think, because of it a lot. They just look at guys and say, you know what, that's a really good football player. We're going to take him on our team.
They're a good organization.
They are. Sadly, they are.
It's annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, only 4 picks. Least amount of picks in the draft this year.
Yep.
2 less than the Commanders, who have 6.
Yep.
Damn, man. That was impressive.
Thanks, brother. Thanks.
That was really impressive.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this.
It shows, man. It shows.
Yep. It's fun, though, man. I fucking love this stuff.
Remembering that Kenneth Walker went to the Chiefs, because I'd kind of forgot that, might hurt your Chiefs move up for Jeremiah Love pick.
I don't think it does. I really don't think it does.
You think they're going to get frisky with it?
Like I said, this was a very frisky, let's have some fun mock draft. Do I really think the Chiefs are going to move up to 3? No. But the intent in some of these things were, I was looking at teams that might possibly want to move back and teams that might want to move up. And I think the Chiefs are a team that possibly could move up.
I mean,
maybe not to 3.
That window's probably, it's not shut by any stretch of the imagination, because they're going to have Mahomes for a number more years.
Yeah.
But before they have to really kind of retool it, like, it's kind of like, let's go get it now before we have to take like 2 years where we kind of have to figure it out and, redo the cap, and the cap's fake, so nobody really knows, but it feels like we got to go again like this year.
I think in like same thing with the Panthers moving from 19 to 12, but that also played in a factor where I was like, I think the Panthers could be movers, but I think if the board goes the wrong way, I think the Cowboys might want to look to drop out. I think teams like the Saints are usually aggressive teams. So I tried to take into those factors, and then I try to have some fun with it. And some of it was just like, who do I think is the best player? And, crazy things happen on draft night where you're like, man, the Chiefs have Kenneth Walker and they got Travis Kelce. And you're telling me they walked out of the first round with Jeremiah Love and Kenyon Sadiq, a running back and tight end. But like that shit happens every year.
And they get the D grade, and then we look back on it.
In 5 years, and you're like, damn it, that was all right.
What a play.
Yeah. So I tried to keep those things in mind. And, I've never done a trade draft. That was my first time ever. I always just we always played it like they were going to stand still a little bit. And it was fun to kind of play around. I think I did like 3 or 4 different mocks with trades. And I was always kind of fiddling with, I didn't like this. And so I was like, this one was a fun one. So I'm going to.
Are you doing this like on like an online thing, or are you doing it by hand?
Yeah, dude. If you go to, if you type in like mock draft with trades for free, it's like one of the first thing. I can't remember the website that I was using. But you can pick certain teams that you are. Like you can do all of them or just a couple, and it will mock them by itself. It will offer you trades. You can propose trades, things like that. So I was kind of playing around. Yeah, I was kind of playing around with that website, and it was fun because then the first time I did it, I did all the teams myself, proposing trades. The next time I did like half the teams, and then other teams would like offer me deals and stuff. And I was like, that doesn't really make sense for them. So I would like redo it. And yeah, it was a lot, but it was fun. Nice. Well, I'll definitely be doing a trade draft again. Nice. Definitely.
How many more? Are there any more mocks? Are you going to do any more between now and Thursday, or you're set?
I'm done, man. My board is done. My top 75 players are right here, actually. If you guys can see this on the pod, there's 75. So my green ones there, if you're watching the video, are my first round grades. Yellows are second, and my reds are third. So obviously I'm missing some guys, but yeah, took the time to try to give the listeners and folks that don't necessarily know a lot of these guys, especially past the top 10 gets so much.
Yeah, it gets about 15, and then I'm like, you were these guys?
Yeah. And I just love, finding out they're like just the ins and outs of who they are, what they ran, why maybe they might drop, why they're moving up, those types of things. And I watch a ton of podcasts and listen to a bunch of guys. Todd McShay, Dane Brugler from The Athletic is fucking fantastic. If you ever get a chance to listen to him, that guy should be working on an NFL team. He does that. He does a 7-round mock for The Athletic. It's incredible. He releases the Beast every year, he calls it. It's literally hundreds of these prospects, and he breaks down what they ran, their hand size, their speed. So I use that a lot for just getting quick information on guys. And then I just typically, over the years, I've learned a lot of what NFL teams look for and do. And so I just try to keep those things in mind as I'm looking and listening. I don't claim to be a scout, but put in the work.
You killed it, man.
Thanks, buddy. How long is this episode?
We're closing in on 2 hours. Hey, Boomer, what's up, buddy?
Let's go.
I still got to toss a couple of things at the end of this too, so it's going to get over too.
It's going to take me until Thursday to listen
to listen to it.
Jesus,
a lot of content this week on the OWH pod YouTube page.
Yep.
Because you just recorded an episode too. What are you going to drop that Wednesday?
Yep. So we're going to do an early episode for the FullRange podcast dropping Wednesday. It's only like 18, 20 minutes. We just did some mental health minute. My weekly pour with this little wine here that I got from a local winery. So we did that and just, talked real quick. But I wanted to put something out, keep the mojo going, and get ready for Thursday night, brother.
Yeah, Thursday night, live on the YouTube channel. I think it goes out on my Facebook page too. I don't know.
Yeah, send me the link so I could send out stuff too.
I think I linked it somehow. I think if you can go and it's up and posted right now as a scheduled live, so you can put reminders on it. I've set it for 6:45. You and I will probably convene around 6:45, get everything rolling. We might not be live right at 6:45, but we will be live before the draft. Ole Walls House YouTube channel. I'll post links. I'll send links to MJ. We'll get it out there into the world. We're gonna have some people popping by. I mean, who knows? Our friends are unreliable, so I think you've got.
I'm gonna have some people here
in studio.
Yeah.
So may or may not appear on.
Yeah, I'll just be the middleman. We'll just get live reactions. It'll be fine.
It'll
be all right.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you Thursday.
All right, buddy.
Time for some passing thoughts. All right, going to keep this relatively quick. We've been going a while here today on the pod. The Philadelphia Flyers, we're in the playoffs. We made the playoffs, and we won game one. Went into Pittsburgh, took them down, made it a gritty, ugly game, ended up getting up 3-1 late in the game, gave up a goal to make it 3-2. It felt like they should have been up more than 1-0 and, eventually 2-1. And it was 1-1 going into the second, coming out of the second. And it was like, man, it should have been more than that. But Dan Vladar had a great game. The power play remains just an absolute disaster. But hey, wins are wins in the playoffs of any sport. And they've got a chance Monday night. The pod will come out after this game is completed, but they've got a chance Monday night to take a big 2-0 lead before going back to Philly. Just got to make these games ugly. Keep that Malkin, Letang, Crosby trio. Just beat them up, bruise them up, make it ugly. Don't let those guys get into a flow and see if we can get it going. The roommate just found out how playoffs work. I'm not an NBA guy. I don't watch the NBA, so she's never withstood one of those. This is the first time the Flyers have made the playoffs in the time I've been watching them. She just learned about a 7-game series. I asked her, how did she not ever pick that up when we're watching Guardians in the playoffs? She's like, I just tuned baseball out because I hate it so much. So she just learned that we could play the Pittsburgh Penguins 7 straight times. So we go Monday, Wednesday, Saturday this week. So hopefully, if we're lucky, next week on the pod, I could be telling you all about a Flyers playoff series win. Just sweep them. Guardians. Let's run through the Guardians real quick. They dropped 2 of 3 to the Cards, but bounce back, take 3 of 4 from the Orioles. Jose got going a little bit against the Orioles. That was good. They're currently getting just absolutely shellacked by the Astros. It is 7-2 at the moment, so not ideal. 2 more with the Astros this week at home. Then they go up to the Toronto Blue Jays to finish off the week. Off day on Thursday. Lot of rumors floating around the universe about Live Golf this week. Started with Monday Q Info, Ryan French in a X Twitter Spaces saying that it could be imminent defunding, and there you might want to take the under if you're a betting man on how long the league lasts. The New York Times, The Athletic, some other non golf media people reporting it. Brett Baer goes on his show and says that funding is through 2026, and then after that, the PIF is out on funding Live. Live has lost something to the tune of $4 billion in its existence. Not spent, lost $4 billion. The CEO of Live has said they're 5 to 10 years away from being profitable. And then the CEO did an interview, I believe it's with Oliver Fisher of TNT Sports, which I think it's not like TNT as in the American channel. It's more like a an overseas sports thing, and says they're funded through 2026. And after that, they're going to have to go out and figure out what they're going to do. Some other reporting that there are changes in the PIF, Saudis, public investment fund, in their overall investment strategies with that money, and that Liv may not be playing into that. So, just wild stuff. I don't know. I don't like Liv. I think the golf world was better without it. But at the same time, the players got a lot of money because of it on both the PGA Tour and in Liv. But a lot of noise. A lot of noise. And the Liv guys were usually like, a lot of noise about it. It's like, no, it's just noise because it's noise. It's not about you guys. Like it's you guys are the subject, but it's real noise, it seems. There was reports of vendors and maybe even players not have been paid on time. So just a lot of weird stuff floating around. I'm not writing them off, though. Like, if for some reason this isn't accurate and all of a sudden we're watching Liv still being funded by Saudi Arabia next year, I would not be surprised. But all signs are pointing to that at the end of this year, Saudi Arabia is out on financial backing. And if so, this league makes no financial sense. I even saw a tweet today that Bryson's representatives were reaching out to people on what his next move, if they can't come to an agreement with Liv, would be. Like, I don't know. It's never made financial sense, and it just never has. So we'll see what comes of it. Matt Fitzpatrick wins in a playoff against Scotty Scheffler. Makes bogey on 18 to go in the playoff, then absolutely flags one on 18. Just from two bills with a 4-iron into a tough breeze, and just hits an absolute gem. Just an absolute gem. So, yeah, it was really cool. And then I'll just end with these two things. Morgan Wallen's walkouts at his concerts are cool. They're really cool. Think what you want about Morgan Wallen's music. Some of it's really good. I think it's kind of fallen off a little bit lately. His walkouts, where he just gets like the most famous person in the area he's playing. He just had Saban this weekend to like come walk out with him. That's dope. Like, just absolutely dope. What's not dope is dope even cool to even say that's dope anymore? I'm probably showing my age right there. But yeah, so not cool is me probably, but also not cool is we went like last week. We had severe thunderstorm, tornado watch, tornado warnings 3 days last week. It was so annoying. We got so much rain. Some towns around we got absolutely pummeled with flooding. Reports of tornadoes down all the place. I'm good. I'm good on the tornadoes for the summer. Just call them off. All right, let's go wrap this thing up. Closing time, everybody. As always, just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Ethan and MJ for coming on and just killing it as they always do. Thank you to producer Kevy for getting us started down the video path. Thank you to all you guys who watch and listen and text me and stuff about it. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. If you're looking for merch, links in the show notes below. That's Ole Walls House merch and FullRange Pod. Another reminder, I've said it a couple times, we are going live on Thursday for the draft about 7:45. I think I said 6:45 earlier. It's 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central. We are going to be live for the entirety of the draft. The link is already up on YouTube. I will tweet it. I will Instagram it. I think MJ is going to do the same. Come check us out. Till next week. Peace.